I am thankful for the Final Shape DLC, because it finally gave me something that I didn't even know I wanted or needed with this franchise, which is proper closure, a proper end. And we're not talking about all of this from a story perspective or anything, because to be really honest with you, I never cared too much for the story in Destiny, or the Witness, or his flying pyramid ships or whatever. No, the Final Shape gave me proper closure because it finally allowed me to walk away from Destiny and be satisfied. And that is the first time that I've been able to say that about any live service type of game. To rewind the clock a bit, I don't think it's a secret that I've lost most of my interest in Destiny over the past couple of years. The game that I once crowned my new favorite game in a review from 2019, that is a while ago. That favorite game has slowly been pushed to a place where, I wouldn't say I dislike the game or anything, it's still a good game, but I just have a lot of apathy for it. And like most people, when they feel this certain way about a certain type of thing, I'd love to just be able to blame it on a single mistake on Bungie's end, that they somehow got something wrong and that is what has done the deed. Like sunsetting, which removed half the raids from the game at the time, and most of the special content, like those cool missions like Whisper and 0 Hour. And they made a lot of our best weapons at the time just useless.
Aimbot?
You shouldn't have suggested the Misfit 1v1. I'd love to blame it on that. Or I'd love to blame it on the ridiculous monetization practices that Bungie has continued to push into this game since Beyond Light. Or I'd love to blame it on the forced FOMO that they had going on for a while there. Or the yearly DLC delays. Or the PvP that was neglected for the better part of 3 or 4 years. Or the don't overpromise sentiment.
Sometimes we have to tell them, like, we shouldn't ship this because it's an over-delivery.
Or the Lightfall campaign as a whole. Or maybe just on this guy.
Fucking...
Not him.
Not that guy.
That guy.
Get him out of there.
My point is, there are a few dozen things that I could have picked out and told you, this is why, or that is why I quit. That is why I quit Destiny. But that just wouldn't be true. You'd be quite surprised actually how much bullshit, not just me, but a lot of other players are also willing to put up with if the core gameplay is enjoyable enough and if there is that promise of things getting better. And the fact that Destiny 2 is still so popular and has remained so popular all these years is the proof of that. No matter how bad or disappointing a DLC might be and no matter how many bad decisions upper management might make, the game walks away with nothing but a few scratches to show for it. And my best guess is that it will continue to do so for a lot longer. No, the real reason that I quit back then is that the game simply stopped being enjoyable to me. Not because there was anything wrong with the game itself or that the game had changed too much in a direction that I didn't like. It was much closer to the opposite actually. Bungie had found the formula that clearly worked for them, and I had simply experienced everything that that formula had to offer too many times over. I'd grown tired of it. It's as simple as that. And my real mistake was pushing myself to keep playing it over and over, in part because of my YouTube channel, but also just to try and reignite that lost spark. Because when it was there, when I started playing this game, oh man, it was good. It was really good. And pushing myself to keep playing it, that is what created a really bleak outlook on things with this franchise for me. I looked at every season as just a bingo card of red border weapons that I had to farm by playing the same timed activity on repeat. I looked at every dungeon, which, yeah, dungeons, this pristine content. I looked at every dungeon as just another 3-man activity with exactly 3 lootable encounters and exactly 2 raid-like mechanics that would mix and match throughout its entirety, with exactly 2 lootable chests that could always be found only in the bits between the encounters, and you get the point. And yes, this mentality of mine even bled over into raids. Raids. The thing that made me fall in love with this franchise to begin with. All of it just started to seem so samey to me. Every new raid had to have exactly 4 encounters, with 2 of those encounters being boss encounters. And one of those bosses always just being a bigger version of a major enemy that we already had in the game. And all of those bosses also always having a clear puzzle in a DPS phase that were kept separated. Every non-combat mechanic became a variation of collecting the motes, picking up a thing and dunking it, shooting the right glowing things, or standing on a particular plate until something happens. It just wouldn't seem to matter what Bungie would add to the game or what Bungie would do to mix things up. I would be so jaded that I just couldn't seem to care. Yeah, strength is nice, we have strength now. But does it really do anything different from Void or Solar? It's just another way to blow up a bunch of ads. But this time, in the color green instead of purple. Now that's not really fair, of course. I know this. I hope that you can understand from the way that I'm explaining this that you know that I know this. And I became especially aware that my view on Destiny might have been a bit warped when I played through the Spire of the Watcher dungeon that was released a long time ago, blind for the first time. I played it a while back in an attempt to come back to this game, and it just didn't really seem to work out. By all means, objectively speaking, Spire of the Watcher is an amazing piece of content, where you get the objective to climb to the top of this massive tower, you've got to solve some puzzles, navigate through some hidden vents, fight a boss all the way at the top and then descend all the way back down through the middle to fight a second boss and end the whole thing together. It ticks all the right boxes for a good Destiny mission. It has those 0-hour puzzle vibes, which I absolutely loved back then. But going through Spire of the Watcher now, even for the first time, even blind, it just didn't feel the same. Mostly because, having played the game so much, even on a first time playthrough, that sense of exploration, mystery and immersion just wasn't really there. I know that when there's a dead end that I should probably look up or down, because that is how Bungie likes to hide their hidden areas. I now know to look for the most distant or least convenient platforms during jumping puzzles and just put on line rampants with a sword to get across fast and safe. I know that to get to the damage phase on a boss, I just have to repeat the exact same thing I did in the first encounter. And with Spire of the Watcher in particular, I also recognize that the first boss was a copy from the boss in Garden of Salvation, and the second boss was just a juiced up wyvern. The thing that I'm trying to get at is that this piece of content would have absolutely blown me away had I been a new player. But now, because I've played the game so much and so much of what is here is just a repeat of what has been done in the past, it just felt like a meh experience at best. Just another day on the job, another thing where I check the weapon rolls on a website and based on that I decide if it's even worth my time to ever touch it again. And this is where I realized that this just wasn't really my game anymore. It was just me. I had simply grown tired of this game and all of its formulas that it uses for content, and I just had to accept that the way that Destiny felt when it was new was never coming back. And this is where we then get to the final shape. Now, as much as I'd love to write this down as some fairy tale story that came true where one DLC suddenly fixed all of my jadedness, no, of course, that wasn't going to happen just like that. And to be completely honest, I wasn't even feeling it that much during the campaign. My friends all seemed to have fun with Prismatic, but I just looked at that as the ultimate reshuffling of old stuff. A new subclass, this time without a new actual subclass.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That being said though, there was a moment during this DLC where Destiny did manage to pull me all the way back in, and where Destiny did feel like that first time again. And that time was during the contest mode of the new raid.
He's gonna do his attack, he's gonna do his attack.
Back right, back right, back right. Front left.
Front. No jump. No jump.
Dive.
Yeah?
Oh,
Nice!
Wait for damage.
Holy.
Wait for damage.
No shit, dude.
Oh, GG, guys.
We did it.
Oh my god.
Still ads. Don't
Doesn't
die.
matter. No, we did it.
Salvation's Edge was not only so much more difficult than I had anticipated it to be, definitely more difficult than anything I've ever done in this game, that's for sure. It also completely subverted my expectations of what this raid would be in every other way. You should have seen my face when I found out that after encounter number 3, we weren't going into a battle with the Witness for a fourth and final encounter, but that instead we'd be thrown into a Vault 2.0 type of puzzle that other players faster than us still hadn't solved after 6 or 7 hours of trying. Not only was that a slap to the face in the best possible way, But then the encounter also went ahead and broke the very core gameplay rules that Destiny 2 was built on since its inception. Like for example, dying. Dying is never a good thing in Destiny, right? Or ever a part of any solution for any puzzle. Not to my knowledge, but in this encounter, it is. It is an essential puzzle piece. There's stuff where you suddenly have to learn how your friends' guardians look like. That's never been done before. Matching them with the right ghosts. And regardless of how you might feel about whether this whole thing fits well with the rest of the raid, which is something up for debate, I can tell you that, at least when I went through it, something just awoke in me. Where suddenly playing this game felt like it did back then. And in that moment, beating this raid on contest mode seemed to be all that mattered once more. And being able to do so with just 3 hours remaining on the contest mode timer, in a boss fight that seemed almost impossibly difficult at the start, that gave me a sense of completion that Destiny never gave me before, which now allows me to walk away from this franchise proud and satisfied rather than begrudged and with apathy. So for that, yes, I am very thankful for this DLC, and this will be something that I'll always remember, much like my first Wish clear. It was a strong beginning and an even stronger end. And then to think that I almost didn't play the raid because I thought it was going to be the same old again, and only ended up raiding because my good friend Sleepy had a real life thing going on last second, so I took his spot. That's how close I got to not participating in this raid race at all. Yeah, no, this was truly a one-off, you had to be there experience, and I'm happy to have participated in it. And as for the future with Destiny, well, I'll continue to keep one eye on Bungie from afar going forward. But I truly think that quitting here might just be the best choice I'll ever make regarding this franchise. You know, just end on the high before it gets too low again. As selfish as it may sound, the only thing that should really pull me back in is just a new game entirely. A new Destiny. One that is different enough and that evolves the franchise enough in a way that Destiny 2 just can't. I know that wouldn't work for a lot of players because it would mean leaving behind 7 years worth of progression. And that hurts. That really, really hurts. I get it. It's why I called it selfish. But for me, I think that that would be the best way forward with this franchise. I really believe that they have simply exhausted all you can do with Destiny 2 currently. They have now dropped a near perfect DLC with this formula that they have. And so I'd just be very surprised if it goes any more up from here. So for now, this has been it for me and the game. And again, that is the first time that I can say that about a live service type of game and not have negative feelings associated with it. Thanks for this amazing time, one more time, and maybe until sometime in the future. Or maybe until next year because my friends drag me back in, even though I don't really want to play, but there's nothing else to play, so I do it anyway, and then the cycle starts again. Hopefully not. But we'll see.